Hey, I'm Noodle Yeti, and this is the 24th part in a series we're doing where we build a city called Westdale. Today, we're actually going to be focusing on our income. Something that's actually been kind of scaring me a little bit is that we have actually been going into the negatives. If we get out of this view, despite the fact that it just said we had 20,000 and now we have 10,000 a week, at the beginning of last episode, we actually had 29 million or so in the bank, and it's been slowly, very, very slowly going down to now we're in the 28 millions. And so to help increase our income, I was thinking about starting to focus on commercial because we actually don't have a whole lot of that in our city. We only have these very sparse, sporadic, tiny areas such as the Grove, and even this isn't completely commercial. It's a mix of low density industry and offices, as well as a couple spots of commercial over here in our high density area where we have some high density commercial and even some organic and local produce low density over here. I think the largest area we have for commercial is over here, and it's just a bunch of, yet again, low density. So today I was thinking about filling in most of this area around the amusement park with commercial and offices. Right in this area, I wanted to have the tourism focused commercial with the really tall kind of hotels and whatnot mixed in here. And then on the outside, actually I think over on this side, I'd like it to be the tourism focused commercial as well. But then as soon as we get over here, I'd like to swap into the leisure. And I would like it to go all the way down on both sides of both of these streets, all the way up and into this bend, and even a little bit down this way. But I don't want to cross the street. On this side, I have some plans for it in the future, so I don't want to touch that just yet. Now, one of the things I am going to have to change over here is actually this particular path. It's actually right in the way of where all those commercial buildings are going to go. So one of the things we need to redo is, of course, this path. I was thinking of just bringing it behind over here, right about there, I think, and then bringing it down into the intersection over there. That way it frees up all of this for commercial zone. So one of the inspirations I have for this particular area actually comes from two different airports around me. We have one called John Wayne in Santa Ana, and another one called I don't know what its nickname is, but it's the Long Beach Airport. I'm going to bring up a web page here in a second just to kind of show you the Long Beach one, or at least something around the Long Beach one. All right, so if we back out a little bit, you could see this is right next to this Long Beach Airport over here, the LGB Airport. And then if we zoom in over here, this place called The Hangar. I really like it a lot. It's very, very thematic. Every time I'm over here, it's just really cool to see. But if we put ourselves into the street view over here, and we turn around to actually look at the building, you could see it's actually designed to look like a hangar, even though it's pretty far from any kind of runway. I really like it. I think it's really cool, a really cool idea. And so the idea I had with that is actually to put some of maybe just one or two of these small hangars over here. Now we would have to pretend that they're actually functional commercial buildings, but I'm cool with pretending. I think it would just be really cool and really play into the airport theme for this commercial area. Now, the reason why I want to do the tourism one for all the tall hotels, that is for the John Wayne Airport, the one in Santa Ana. That one has a lot of hotels around it, and I mean a lot. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get the roads laid out over here in the districts and even get the zoning fixed. So I will be right back. so over here I've got everything laid out now the way I'd like it. As you can see, I've added in the props for the hangars and even a couple planes. I did that because I kind of wanted to add to the airport's attractiveness. If we get out here, it's now a score of 840, so we're getting closer to that 1000 range over there. The higher we can get that attractiveness score, the more people that will choose to use that as their way in and out of the city, and the more money we'll make. The reason why I put the planes over here is because maybe they're decommissioned planes or something, and they want to put them out front as kind of like some statues or something, just some monuments to show. I don't know. But anyways, I thought it was kind of nice, so I put those there. And so I've added in some paths that connect from some of the ways that might be longer walks for some of the people, just so they can cut across a lot easier. There's one thing that I kind of regret that I wish I didn't do last part, was actually upgrading the smaller road that was along right here into this 4-lane road. I wish I had kept it the 2-lane road with bike lanes instead, but I did panic when I saw all the traffic, and that is just how I overreacted. It is what it is, so I'm just gonna have to deal with that. I've got all these zones set up. Looks like I don't quite have our policies set up yet, but as soon as I do that, we should be okay. So I did heavy traffic bans for these. I don't want our warehousing district to cut through these roads that we have over here. When we come back in here though, I did bring it off of this main road here because I do want them to go that way. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I want to change this again. So 1 second. All right, so I had to add an extra district in over here. And this is just so that way we can keep the heavy traffic ban off of this road so we could still have trucks come through here. When I was messing around with the districts, I accidentally got rid of the one that was over here. That was the not high density, that was the wall-to-wall one that kind of hid the side of the cinema and whatnot, and it destroyed all the buildings in the process. So now we have all of these Green City, Green Life DLC ones over there. But yeah, I've got all this area district out and set up in a way that I'd like them. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start zoning everything in so we can watch it grow in. Now I am going to put down some offices along the inside of this road over here. It's not because I want to focus on using offices or anything like that. That's just simply because I want to just finish this area out so that way I'll be ready to detail it and add trees and props and things like that in the next part. So let's get it zoned in and let's watch it grow. All right, so for the most part, everything is zoned in. And as you can probably tell by our bank balance down at the bottom, we started making hand over fist. I believe we started at 28.6 and now we're at 29.2 and rising. Of course, right now we do have the concert going on, so there is a ton of tourists around here. So they're probably all over these tourism buildings and leisure buildings. As you can probably tell, I added in 2 pedestrian bridges, and this is on purpose because during that time lapse, I actually noticed that there were so many tourists. Sorry, the concert's really loud. 1 second. There were actually so many tourists trying to cross the street that it was actually causing traffic jams. So I put these in just to kind of help that out just a little bit. I'm thinking this is looking pretty cool. You got all these tourism buildings over here with like their hotels and whatnot. Although I don't really like the ones that are right here. I think I'm actually gonna bulldoze that one. That's not the final one I'd like, and I bet you it's about to grow the exact same building, knowing my luck. Yep. All right, so I decided to grow something pretty much the exact same, but a little bit shorter, and I'm fine with that. And pretty much almost this whole area is now officially done. I'm really liking it. Oh, there's actually a couple things I forgot to change that I wanted to change. We actually don't need these buildings on that road over there. We can turn them around, just reorient where their entrances are. Doesn't really change a whole lot, but it will just help out this road and the road in front of the amusement park not have as much traffic. I'm actually really liking this. I'm thinking this area is looking really cool. I think we're going to see a heck of a lot more traffic over here, which is something we'll probably have to deal with in about 2 episodes or so. That's okay. We don't have to deal about it now, so we don't even have to think about it. But yeah, I'm really liking this area. I'm thinking it's looking absolutely incredible. I'm thinking it looks a lot better than it did before as a big open field. And I'm actually kind of pleasantly surprised at how it looks. I was kind of scared a little bit that it would be absolutely terrible. So the next commercial area I want to build out and think about is one right over here that's going to be right next to this railway and this road and these warehouses over here. I want to fill in this area right here around these bus roads with wall-to-wall commercial. And then I also want to extend these leisure buildings out all over here, except I want a couple blocks right in the middle of them of just the shopping mall DLC ones. And I think that'll give me a really good reason to include one of these shopping mall particular unique buildings, where if we go in here, look at shopping malls, I want to use this one right here, this outdoor, or whatever this is called, the outdoor shopping mall. I want to put that one over there. I think that'd be really cool. And the idea I had for it was to actually put it in line with the runway. So that way, maybe if you're over there, you can see these planes flying overhead. It'll probably be really loud and noisy as the planes go down to land, but you know what? I'm kind of okay with that. I think it'll be just fine. So give me a minute here while I think about how I'd like to lay this area out. Alright, I've got the whole area laid out over here just the way I'd like it. And it was actually giving me a huge pain to try and get this lined up with the runway. It's still just slightly off, as you could tell, but I think it'll be just fine. I had to turn off pretty much everything except for angle for road guidelines, and that's when it allowed me to line it up. I've even got all the districts laid out over here. If we take a look, it was actually quite a pain trying to get this one to kind of wrap around there and that one there, but just took a little bit of finagling, and I eventually got it to work. I think last episode I actually intended to make this an intercity train station because it's the only train station that has access to the end of this line over here. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn that on so that way you can accept trains from over there. We have all the transport capacity over here to handle that. But yeah, I really like this road layout over here. I kind of like this little cul-de-sac. But yeah, I think we're ready to go ahead and start zoning this stuff in and watching it grow. Before we get into that, I completely forgot that right over here in this shopping mall area, we're going to want to zone these in first and let them grow and level up, because I forgot that they have a very high demand for highly educated workers when they reach level 3. And so I want to avoid these ones from abandoning. So we're going to need to zone these ones in first and let them fill up with their workers before we zone in the rest. So in case you're wondering why the growing is like in a 2-part thing, that's why. So be right back. All right, this area is all zoned in and whatnot, and you might notice a couple things have changed, such as the commercial buildings right over here. I realized I forgot to zone that spot correctly, so the regular high density zoned in when I was trying to use the wall-to-wall. But it's okay, it's very easy fixed. Just demolished them, rezoned it and whatnot. And I actually put in a couple city services as well, such as a sauna, the Heart of Korea police station, and Heart of Korea fire station with a fire watchtower behind it. Yet again, just to exploit that weird thing where for some reason the fire watchtower increases the coverage of the police station or fire station. But yeah, I'm really liking this. I think it's looking really good. We've made a little bit of money. I think during the time where I was putting down some of the services, we actually made it up to 29.5 million. I'm not quite sure what happened. Maybe we lost our football match or something, but we lost a bunch of money there. One of the things I was noticing during the time lapse is actually these two warehouses over here. This is the one that's set to fill, and it's now at 4%, 5%. So this thing is calling for a lot of commercial goods to come in. If we look down at the bottom, we have a very low demand for industry or offices. And that's kind of worrying because we do need to produce a lot more of our own commercial zone goods. And both of these are empty. And as you can see, this balanced one has 40 out of 40 trucks in use. And this one's 27 out of 40. Like, we're struggling right now to maintain our commercial zone good demand just from these two new commercial zones we've added. And I think that's actually probably one of the reasons why our bank balance now is starting to decline. We have some unique issues that we're going to have to focus on next time. Well, I mean, next time we're going to be adding props and things like that, so hopefully our budget will be in the positive. But if it's not in the positive, then oh well. We have a lot of money in the bank, so we can handle losing a bunch while we detail and add trees and whatnot. But then after that, we're probably going to need to move into increasing our population size to go from 50 to maybe 60 or 70,000. I'm judging by the little milestone meter here, it's probably going to be around 70,000 for the next one. Hopefully that won't be too difficult. I have a couple ideas of how I'd like to, or where I'd like to put a couple of those neighborhoods. All right, so we've got one last commercial area that I'd like to finish out, and then I kind of want to go into some more unique things in order to help increase income throughout the city. The final area I'd like to fill in is right over here in the Grove. If we get out of this, you can see we don't have these areas right here zoned in. And I think this would actually be a great opportunity for us to put down some regular industry, where we'll probably have to remove that just like that and put a separate policy right over here, just like that. And we're gonna want to put the policy of filter industrial waste, so we're not getting that pollution over here right next to the farm. The reason I'm doing that is because going into the future, we need more buildings that produce commercial zone goods. Currently, for the most part, we only have specialized industries such as agriculture and forestry. We don't have a lot of just regular generic industry that produces those commercial zone goods. So that's actually how we're going to overcome our commercial zone good demand in the future, is after we increase our population, we're going to move into zoning generic industry. And so we can go ahead and start that over here this time by mixing it in between with some low density commercial. I was also thinking of putting down another one of the shopping mall unique buildings over here. I kind of like this medium grocery store, the Fresh Foods. I believe it's supposed to be like a Whole Foods type building. And I think right across the street from this particular metro stop, the one that goes in two different directions, is a perfect place. As you can see, this station alone services 2,250 passengers a week. I don't think there's a better place to put a unique building besides at the end of this one. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this down over here. Very quick, easy access to it right across the street. So as they come out, they can just walk right over there. I kind of want to do just some small squares, maybe 3x3 of things like this. I think we're going to have to actually make the commercial buildings historical, or else they might level up and turn into things we don't want. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm actually okay with this. And yes, we are going to have to make these commercial buildings historical, or they will level up on us and turn into something we don't want around our city. Ooh, and the industry as well. I forgot about that. So pretty much just make all of these historical. All right, so we got this whole area finished out now with our unique building, some generic industry, a little bit more commercial. I'm satisfied with this. I really like it. I think the only thing left now is to get into some of the more unique ways of increasing income. So if we look at our building levels, since we're already over here, we can check some things out. Like you can see this one's still only level 1, but we're not worried about that. We just put it down. So we're going to come over here and we see there is a lot of buildings that are not quite at the maximum level. This particular one wants more education, while most of the other ones are going to be wanting increased land value. And so there's one way that we can cheese this, because I believe it's already covered by every service. Give me 1 second. I'm going to make sure that they are. All right, yeah, so they're covered by every single service. They have their public transportation lines over here. They have easy access to commercial and industry and whatnot. So the way that I was thinking about cheesing this was actually to take a park area and just paint all around it, just all around the backside of it, all up over into this area over here. And we're going to add one park entrance. So we go into here, go into our small park gate. We can just go ahead and throw it down right there. And I want to add some paths all throughout here to connect it up. But before we do that, I want to actually take its ticket price and turn it down to 0, because we don't actually want to earn any money from this park. We're not trying to extort these people. We're just trying to increase the value of their land. So I'm going to go ahead and be right back. I'll put down some park paths and whatnot and see you on the other side. There we go, and you can see they're all leveling up now. They're all really excited that they have this free park right behind their home. That'll increase our population just a little bit and increase our income just a little bit. But this isn't the only area. But if we turn our attention over here, you can see all of the residential homes that are suffering over here. And these ones are increased land value. And so we're going to do what we did over here behind these homes and cheese it with a free park. And I'm going to take this park asset and I'm actually going to wrap it around this area over here and then just follow down the main road. We already have all these paths and things over here with all the trees, so we don't really have to do a whole lot in order to make the park nice. We just have to add in a main gate. And I'm thinking of adding in the main gate over here. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make it free. We're not trying to extort all these passengers who use our metro for even more money. So I'm going to go ahead and get this park set up real quick, and I will be right back. All right, so I am back, and I've actually done a lot more than just add in that park over there and put in some gazebos along its path just to increase its coverage. I forgot earlier that I was supposed to upgrade all the dirt paths to these particular paved ones, that way people on bikes can ride through. As you can see, they are now loving this path. I upgraded those, and I've also gone around town and added in a bunch of city services where we were lacking. The only place I didn't add in city services was right over here in this particular area. And that's simply because, well, actually I added in a fire watchtower right over here because it needed it. But the one city service I'm talking about is actually transportation. I have this planned for a later date, but currently, what in the world is that? Oh, post office. But currently the only public transit we have over here is the monorail and the 2 bus lines over here. We have no high-speed transit option getting out of this area. I'm actually even considering putting in a ferry stop over here looking at it, but I think that'll be something I'll have to think about later. And I think that's the final public service we need for this area to finish leveling up. Next, I went over here, and this was actually missing healthcare. If we look at our healthcare coverage, without these 2 spots you see over here, there was nothing on this end of the map. So I added in a health clinic over here with a fire watchtower just to increase the fire coverage. Looks like we're having a shortage on citizens. And I also added in a sauna. For this particular sauna, I had to demolish a commercial building. I'm okay with it. I think we'll be fine. And then I also added in a bunch of fire coverage over here. I think one of the locations, if I could find it, is right over here. I added in the fire watchtower next to the amusement park. I think that makes sense. At least to me. I mean, I'm pretty sure the amusement park would probably try and hide it in something, like maybe they'd have the fire watchtower post at the top of the drop tower ride, but it is what it is. I got it over here and I've got it all providing fire safety and whatnot. But yeah, I didn't want to bore you with all those little minor things. I think for the final thing I want to do this episode is to actually put down the final fish factory over here, so that way our shellfish fishing harbor will stop complaining every time it fills up. I think this is the last one we actually need. I mean, we probably could put down more, because if we come in here and we look at our outside connections, we're actually exporting quite a bit of fish. As you can see, almost every single one of these places is exporting. But I think just the fact that the fish factory is such a large asset that looks exactly the same every time you put it down, I think I'm just going to call this good and continue to just export fish as opposed to turning it into commercial zone goods. I think it would be kind of neat if they'd actually added in generic zoned industry for fish specifically, since they have it for the other industry zones, but it's fine. I think it's doing great. I think it's fine all the way it is. I think I'm actually kind of happy with where we're at. Now, I think the 2 commercial zones we just added in, I think they actually tanked our income, and not only temporarily. I think our lack of commercial zone good production is what's tanking our income right now. As soon as we get the population and start building in the industry for it, our income will then start to go on the rise. I think it's only in the negatives right now because we're importing so many commercial zone goods. And the reason I think that is because when we first put down all these commercial areas, they drew all of their product from our warehouses, which skyrocketed our income. So that's what makes me believe, as long as we focus on generic industry after residential, we're gonna have an incredible budget. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your viewership. Sorry the episode's a little bit shorter, or maybe You're welcome for a shorter episode, depending on what you prefer. I don't know. And I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned a little bit, and I hope maybe you can teach me something. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
There's no denying what we want. There's no denying what we want. Playing games now. There's no denying what we want. There's no denying what we want. Playing games now. There's no denying what we want. There's no denying what we want. Playing games now. There's no denying what we want. There's no denying what we Playing games There's no denying what we want.